Hello once again and welcome back to another episode of Father and Sundays, the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. This week is episode 116.
116?
That's 116. And we are talking about adrenaline today.
Awesome.
So stick around if you want to hear more. Oh, hello.
Hello.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm alright. How are you?
Why are you laughing?
I'm just laughing because I'm happy.
Why are you happy?
Kind of happy. Well, I'm usually reasonably happy.
Why?
Because I've got quite a nice life and I enjoy things.
Do you think so?
Yeah, yes, I think so. What, are you trying to get me down, are you now?
No. Interesting. So, my name's Connor, hello, and I'm the son of Father and Sundays, and you are?
Oh, I am father, and I'm David of this organisation.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Glad that we got that out of the way.
Yep.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm all
Apart
right.
from just laughing.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Well, now you're making it sound like you're not so okay.
Well, no, I was going to apologise because we missed a week of recording.
Oh, yes, that was your fault.
It was my fault. Unfortunately, I think the last one we released was Denmark.
Yeah, Denmark.
Denmark, yes.
And then, unfortunately, you got unwell in Denmark, didn't you?
Well, towards the end of Denmark, I got unwell. I would say, fantastic place. If I was reviewing Denmark, or Copenhagen particularly, but if I was reviewing it, I'd say it was a fantastic place to go. Loads of nudity.
That was your favourite part?
Yeah, one of my favourite parts. And then there was another bit of nudity. Which
there was two
another,
favourite parts, wasn't it?
There was three, if I'm honest. But no, it's just such a nice place, and the atmosphere, the people there were really sort of friendly.
Who's your favourite Danish person there?
My favourite Danish person?
Whilst you're there?
Oh, wow. There was a nice person on reception when we first got to our hotel.
Was she naked?
No, they don't tend to be naked all the time.
Right.
But just there was like one of the canals we were quite near to, so we'd come over from our hotel and walk down there, and people used to swim in it, and we swam in it as well. But people have and it was really nice weather while we were over there, but people have a sort of relaxed, liberal view to getting changed, standing there, drying themselves off, everything like that. No one takes any notice. And it actually, I'll joking aside, I say about nudity, but it was there was a real diverse, all shapes and sizes, and it just felt, in the end, once you get over the initial shock, because being English, we don't do that, but once you got over the initial shock of it, it felt right, it felt like, not like I did it, but it did feel like there was nothing wrong with it whatsoever. So, but a lovely place. And
so you weren't walking around with your fella out?
No, I didn't take my fella.
No, he stayed home.
I went with your mum.
No.
Right. No, we didn't. We didn't partake. We did go swimming, but we didn't partake in the buff swimming, which is obviously quite a draw over there. But yes.
We'd say lack of draws, wouldn't it?
Lack of draws. Very good. Yes, I like it.
I've been trying to work out how to fit...
that joke in?
No, not that one. A different one.
Right. So shall I keep talking until you can get an opportunity to?
I think it'd be pushing it too much. So maybe we just go with something else. Like, so was the ocean feeding into the canal?
Was the ocean feeding into the canal?
Yeah, was the sea feeding into the canal?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, because you don't want a canal without the sea.
No, you don't. No, is that a joke?
Yep.
I don't get it. What?
Yep.
No.
Spell out the word canal.
Hey?
Spell out the word canal. And then take away the sea.
Ah, nice one. Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. I made that joke while I was over there, but yes, I didn't actually get it.
Well, I wasn't there to know.
No, I sent you a picture of it. Because someone had canal cruises in Copenhagen, but they'd used a different font for the sea, so it didn't look like a canal. Anyway.
So it's been almost 3 weeks since we last recorded the podcast.
But only sort of a week we missed as far as it being issued, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So about 2 weeks between.
Yeah.
podcasts.
But I'm feeling all right now. I'm back at work in the heat today, and
Mum
I have
panicked
been
you a
for-
little bit, didn't she?
She did panic me a little bit. She wasn't feeling very well on the flight home, and she felt quite sick. And
You keep telling the story. I'm going to take my shoes off. I should do it.
okay. Is this a bare feet sort of story?
No, I've got socks on.
Okay. Yes, so she wasn't feeling very well. So she was a bit sick. But people are on when they travel. It happens. Not so much Mum, but I thought, oh well, she's just feeling a bit under the weather. And then she was the lady on the other side of her, and as we were sitting in the free, was really lovely and was really understanding. And then Mum was sick again, and
Your mum?
passed out. Your mum.
Oh, mum.
Passed out and freaked me out. She blacked out for a little while. And in her, when I spoke to her afterwards, in her words, she said she opened her eyes and there was about 3 or 4 people staring at her. Well, actually more than that. There was two stewardesses, because I freaked and I started shouting, asking for someone to come and help. And the lady on the other side of her tried to help out as well. And she was sort of rolled back into her seat. But it's obviously a little bit of a worry in that when something like that happens. And then someone said, and you never actually see this, do you? But someone said, well, I'm a doctor. Someone said a little way over, and they came over, and obviously, but Mum came round, and we said, are you all right? And they go, Mary, are you all right? She said, yeah. She said, I thought I was just asleep. But then
I'm just trying to have a nap, guys.
I stressed her out, because after that, she was obviously everything. I was freaked out, and she kept opening her eyes, and I was just staring at her, making sure she was breathing properly. They put her on oxygen in the end, and arranged for the paramedics to be there when we arrived home, which, like when we arrived to the airport, which was quite dramatic, as they have a fire crew comes on first of all, and then they led her out of the aeroplane. And
in fairness, the airport has their own fire crew, so
and they had to be there to do some of the things that needed to be done. I think it's procedure, but she was fine in the end. She had a few tests and that, and they said that probably her blood pressure had dropped, and because of the cabin pressure, and that it was all instrumental to it. But yes, it's going to be. I'm a nervous flyer anyway, but it did really, really freak me out, I must admit. But she's all right. So
at least she had the window seat for you to look out of.
I hardly looked at. She ruined that for me. On the way over there, she just kept going, oh, did you see that? Can you see that? But I couldn't, because
her head's in the way.
Her head's in the way. When she did lean back, the angle that I was looking at, I couldn't see anything anyway. So, and on the way home, I didn't feel. I took one picture out of the window and I looked a couple of times, and then after that I just stared at Mum for the entire hour and a half or so.
That's cute, because it was your anniversary whilst you were away.
It was our anniversary, so perhaps that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself in Denmark, in Copenhagen. Yes. Meanwhile, back home, there's some stuff we'll talk about throughout this podcast, but not much has happened.
Okay. Right. So if not much has happened...
Well, I'm trying to think of... Because that sounds a bit...
I hear there's octopuses.
I
hear there's octopuses in the where we swim sometimes.
Yep, down at in the
estuary.
The estuary, Thames estuary. There's some octopuses.
Yes, that's a bit alarming, really, isn't it?
No,
giant ones.
No.
Okay, well then maybe I won't worry so much.
Jellyfish. You'd be more worried about the jellyfish.
Well, yeah, I am always worried about the jellyfish when you're in there.
I'd be more worried about the sharks.
I don't think we've got anything of any.
There are,
but nothing of any.
No, there are big ones.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
No, there isn't.
Sometimes basking sharks go down there.
Not in the shallows where we're.
Yeah.
Just such a liar.
I am lying. Yeah.
You are lying. Yeah. Oh, right, okay.
But there have been some whales that have gone down there.
Yeah, but
that's not the Welsh people. That's actual.
Yeah.
All Welsh people going towel, hour.
There was Blodwyn. Yes, I do know that there's freak sort of...
They're not freaks, they're just normal animals.
No, but when they swim up the Thames when they're not really
I know
supposed to be...
they're called humpback whales, but they are meant to have a hump on their back.
Yeah. Okay then. Well, if that's all that's happened, so we've covered the sickness, the...
if you had a humpback whale, would you call it, what's his face?
Quasimodo. Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
Quasi. Probably wouldn't use the whole name, because you don't really need
Quasimodo.
To. Yeah.
Only when he's in trouble.
Only when you say his full name when he's done something wrong. Spurted in the front room. Right.
The big tank we're going to have to get.
Right. Okay. So, I don't believe in violence.
So-
We'll be getting a tank.
So this, don't believe... Oh, right. You're a pacifist. So this week we're going to be talking about C9H13NO3,
Yes.
also known as adrenaline.
Adrenaline. Well, it's adrenaline as in respect of sports and activities, and some people call it extreme sports.
All my research has been on the chemical formula, so I'm lost now.
But you've already done all your research.
Yeah,
already.
I've done all my bit.
Well, I think it's adrenaline is produced by your body and makes your heart beat
Hang
faster.
on, he's reading off of Google.
And your lungs function more efficiently, sends more blood to your brain and muscles. I guess this is why. And before we get on to the sort of sports and recreational
I'm going to
stuff,
type in
that
what
we're
is
talking-
adrenaline and see if exactly that comes out.
So is this why that you get, I don't know, a car starts rolling towards a small child, and then you get a mother who stands in the way and has strength like she's never had before to stop that car in order to save the child or something like that. You know what I mean? Those sort of instances when someone suddenly seems to have superhuman strength.
It's almost like, I think, arguably, they haven't got superhuman French.
Have they got Hooper Super French? Have they got
those
what have they
superhuman
got?
French.
Right?
I don't know why I said
Oh
French.
no! Oh, Sacre bleu!
These are baguettes.
Right, so they haven't got
superhuman strength.
superhuman strength.
They haven't got that because arguably, what I'd say is you can't have more strength than what you've got. So what they've likely got is they don't use their full strength all the time because there's never a necessity.
But would
to
that
use your
be
strength full time.
like your adrenaline? So your body producing something it wouldn't normally produce in that
Well,
volume.
so I think basically your body always says, no, don't do that because you shouldn't be able to lift that much, for example. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then this adrenaline kind of takes over and goes, screw that, let's do it.
But I think that is probably what it is, though.
It's your body just saying, screw it.
Because you don't suddenly become bionic.
Yeah, it's
or-
like when you jump out of a plane, you just all of a sudden go, screw it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about sort of adrenaline sports. So it's usually connected to... It's weird. When I started looking at it, it's I wouldn't say normal sports, but there is an element of it is sort of fairly run-of-the-mill.
Well, adrenaline comes from essences of danger.
Yeah, so it might be high risk, or it might be from a great height, or it might be very fast what you're doing. There might be natural challenges to what you're doing, so it might be that you're almost trying to conquer Mother Nature, for want of a better way of putting it, or physical struggle to do something. But what I was thinking, first of all, what sports have you done, or things have you done like that, that you would class as extreme?
Well, I've done one recently. The other one, should we touch on it now?
Oh, we might as well touch on that now. Yeah.
So, as I've spoken about previously in this podcast, I was doing a challenge which has already gone by, and the challenge was of climbing up 42 flights of stairs in the Cheese Grater skyscraper. That's 1,096 steps, and then abseil down the side of it.
Yep.
Now, you were there.
I was.
It was last weekend. And I did do the 1,096 steps
You did.
all the way up. And I tell you what, that was painful. However, due to organisational errors
Yes.
on the event, they did have to cancel my abseil, which I was gutted by and still am gutted by.
Yes. No, I can quite imagine.
So this podcast was timed to be able to go
Talk
with
about that.
Talk
We
about
could
that.
talk about the actual feeling of doing it.
Unfortunately, didn't do the abseil. Now, that's not to say that I won't do something, because I have already said that at this point, it doesn't look like they're going to organise another abseil this year. If they do something next year, maybe I'll take part in that. But I'm already looking at some stuff that I could do, whether it be an abseil or something similar.
Yeah. Almost as a replacement to that part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't...
I'd still want to do an abseil down a
Yeah.
skyscraper at some point, because how often do you get to do that?
No,
That's one
no,
of the big
that's very
reasons I
true.
did that.
That's very true.
But anyway, let's not dwell on that. It was still a interesting and fun thing to do. The medal's very cool. It's cool to go up all those stairs in the skyscraper and get that good a view. I did think I was going to die a couple of times, but I didn't, which is good. I did it in 19
about
minutes and 57
exhaustion?
seconds. Yeah.
The thing is, I don't think people really appreciate that part of it. I mean, I was sort of focused in on the abseil because that's the bit I see as the exciting bit of it.
Well, the work is the going up the stairs in reality.
But the actual
was a free
really
fall
physical, the real physical side of it was going up the stairs. Now, I did, while I was in Denmark, there's a recycling unit, a power station that's got a dry ski slope. They try and do all things very sort of environmentally friendly, or try and use things. But we went up steps there, and that was something like 85 metres high. Good God. I mean, it was a warm day, but we walked up there. It was really difficult.
I mean, arguably, going up the steps is still an adrenaline-fueled activity, because you're going up these stairs,
pumping,
you're pushing these, and you're challenging yourself. So though necessarily you're, to a certain extent, it's a risk. Like, there's always a risk when it comes to exercise, such as running a marathon, or running a half marathon, or whatever your distance might be.
Because it depends on you, I guess, more than...
I'll be honest, I don't think a 5K is necessarily a adrenaline task for me. But for some people it would be.
But exactly that. For some people that would be a massive milestone, a massive thing to do.
That's not to put anyone down who does 5Ks and that's the furthest distance they do, because that's fantastic, especially in certain circumstances. And everyone's got to start somewhere. No, exactly.
Well, there's always something.
I mean, I struggle with... I would consider my top distance a 10K.
Yeah.
Although I have done a half marathon. I've really struggled with it. Whereas yours would be a marathon, is your real challenge.
So the furthest I've ever run is a marathon. Well, a bit more than a marathon, but
strictly
it was only supposed to be a marathon. What, the one where they
accidentally made it
600 metres longer? Yes. So a marathon, but then there's people that I know that do like these ultras and that are hundreds of miles, or even triathlons and things like that. So there's always something. I mean, one of the things you didn't mention that you've done, because I was trying to think back, I did go on sort of an outwards bound holiday when I was at school, and I did whitewater rafting and potholing. Good God.
We've spoken about that potholing before as well.
Yeah, and then I've done water skiing years back, only once, and I've skied twice. But we did...
Do you ski?
Do I ski?
Do you ski?
Well, I don't know that I could say I ski. I have skied.
Oh, you must.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. But we did...
Posh person's icebreaker, that one.
Is it? Is that how they do
you ski?
I don't really mix
with
posh
and when you say no, you say, oh, you must.
Oh, you must. We did... the run at Lee Valley, which is where they did the 2012 Olympics. They did some of the sort of kayaking and such like.
But we did hot dogging.
We did hot dogging, which is kind of like
which is disappointing because they don't give you the food.
No, they didn't. That would have been better. Although I think I'd swallowed so much of the water while we were doing it, then it probably wasn't going to be something like
that's the brine.
The brine. That was intense.
Yeah, I thought I was going to die that day.
I thought you were going to die as well.
I thought you were going to die.
I nearly did.
I nearly died.
But it was. We've got some really good pictures because your mother got it for me for a 50th birthday present. She was trying to kill me off.
Kill you off.
And we've actually got some ones of us doing it, but the best ones of us as the kayak, let's call it a kayak because it is pretty much like that, was tipping over. So you got us almost being thrown out of it. But that's got to be considered as a
adrenaline sport. 100%. 100%.
Because you felt from the minute you started
it was rapids.
It was rapids. And
it was a man-made rapids, but it was rapids.
There was two runs, wasn't there? There was the Olympic one and there was the Legacy one. That's it. And we were on the Legacy one. And I remember looking at it and thinking... oh, the Olympic one looks really cool, like really going for it.
The Olympic one there is where they were doing the
big rafts.
The big rafts.
But we
I'd
went
like to
on
do that one day.
Yeah, we went on the Legacy one, and good God, that was hard work, wasn't it? We were exhausted by the time we'd finished because you get to go around. But we kept pitching in the water, and then sometimes the hot dog or kayak would end up at the end of the run, but they'd have to go and get it for you. And then,
some bloke would go and swim out there.
Man, and there's pictures of us. I think I mentioned this the other day. There's pictures of us. We went just to have something to eat afterwards, and we look wiped
We went
out
to a
in all
Wetherspoons,
sense,
didn't we? Yeah.
all sense of the word. We were so tired. So we have done these extreme sports.
Every day, in every way, the things people do, the things people say, just irritate me, please sedate me. These are the things that really get my goat.
People who run for trains which they can't realistically catch, and in doing so run into and tut at people going in the opposite direction. I've got an idea. Set your alarms 5 minutes earlier. One thing that occurs to me is we're talking about all these different bits and pieces. And obviously we said about the hot dog thing was for my 50th birthday. But do you think it's something... I look at some of these sports, and some of the ones we're going to cover in a little while is a young person's thing to do. Because I get this, I think as you grow older, you become more aware of your own mortality. And so
that's true, that does happen.
That does. And a kind of...
Teenagers often feel a sense of immortality, hence the reason they take risks.
Yeah, exactly. And when I was a teenager, and even in my 20s, I didn't really care.
Who do you see jumping across train tracks?
Yeah, well, that's
tends to be teenagers.
Very, very true. But the skiing, for instance. Now, I went skiing. I was an adult when I went skiing, but I went skiing more recently in the last few years, and I was very much more aware of my
100%.
my body and what.
I did look off.
You okay? I was very much aware of my body and the risk to it, where the first time I don't remember feeling like that, but now it was very evident to me that I could just ski off the side of a mountain.
Well, I think it's a yes and no situation, and a lot of it comes down to personal circumstances. So, for example, and adrenaline sports, we're talking about extreme sports and stuff like that. However, adrenaline sports can come in any shape or form depending on your circumstances. So an adrenaline sport for one person might be riding a bike. So like Nanny Joyce, for example, she went to Holland, she rode on a bike.
Yeah.
She realised she struggled with it a lot more because she was in her late 80s at the time.
Yeah.
I think so, wasn't it? Late 80s?
Yeah, probably.
Mid to late 80s?
Yeah, mid to late 80s, yeah.
So yeah, that was more of an adrenaline task for her. Whereas other people wouldn't look at it that way.
No.
Yes, you are more aware of the situation, but I don't think anything should be just for young people or whatever.
I guess it's you're as young as
you should
feel,
base it on your own personal well-being and fitness and stuff like that. But at the same time, like for example, you shouldn't. If you really struggle with certain situations, then maybe you shouldn't go climbing up mountains like we have done.
That's true. That's very true.
Because mountain, that is another adrenaline sport. Going and hiking up a mountain, you might see it as just going for a walk, but in reality, you're putting yourself. It's a lot of strain on your body, and you're also putting yourself in some dangerous situations. Like
you are,
especially if you're rambling.
You are,
not rambling. Sorry. Rambling is kind of, but
rambling, scrambling up.
Scrambling, I mean more.
We're not talking about wearing, like, is it crampons that people use, like, and sort of going up a sheer face, but at the same time they are very challenging. We've done 2 out of the 3 highest peaks in.
Well, you've done all 3, but yeah,
but as a duo,
as a father and son team.
But and they are very, very difficult to do. I mean, I think the first one was probably very difficult because of the extreme weather. And the second one...
extreme weather, yeah.
It was.
It was pretty
intense at times.
And
the second
I wouldn't
one,
call it extreme weather because some people live through tornadoes.
Yeah. But as far as it wasn't ideal for what we needed to do.
It wasn't.
And
the second time it wasn't, but then we changed it to a different day.
Yeah, but the second time was very, very hot. But I would say the second one we did with Scarfell Pike was very challenging because of the terrain. Because it was... because it's mostly stone and loose stone.
And when you do that kind of thing, do you constantly think to yourself, if I trip over right now and a rock goes into my head, I might die? Or if I trip over and I could snap my leg very easily.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before, me and you. I'm very aware of, and I mean, you're more than capable. You're in certain respects, you're fitter than I am, and I've often been, or we've talked about this on this podcast before, I've often been warned by your mother, don't worry about everybody else, just concentrate on keeping safe yourself, you know.
Yeah, because then you lose focus on yourself.
Yeah. And arguably I do that because I guess it's just that.
Because yes, when we go do this stuff, I am looking out for you, but at the same time,
yeah. But you're
an adult,
and it, you know, if you take your eye off the ball with these things, and we had instances when we were climbing the last one, certainly. I mean, either of them, if we'd have just lost concentration for a second, we'd have been in big trouble. I mean, there are parts of those climbs that you only have to step a foot off from where you are, and that would probably be your lot, you know, or you'd be very seriously injured. So there's an element of that's testing yourself, but also I guess there's a bit of a thrill about the part of it that not everybody can do this, and there is, be it you mitigate the risk, but there is a risk that you could be seriously injured or even killed.
And the thing is, a lot of people do these things, but yeah, you are right. So again, another situation is in July, I jumped out of a plane. We've spoken about it before, but I jumped out of a plane. I did a tandem skydive. Now, wicked. That's one of those things that it is that 100% adrenaline sport. You can't deny that one.
What would you do?
Towards the ground.
Yeah.
And even to the point where you feel the adrenaline so much that you shouldn't really drive straight off to do it. But and all those kind of things.
That makes perfect sense, to be honest.
Yeah, but part of it is because I want to experience it, and not everyone else does it.
Yeah.
Like I've been within my job, I come across a lot of people. I work with and train a lot of people, and I've been doing this game with them where they've got to play bingo and. As an icebreaker task, they play bingo.
Extreme bingo?
Not extreme bingo, but like bingo cards are like who works out before work, and you've basically got to speak to each other to try and work out these things. Yeah, get to know each other. One of the questions is has skydived, and I go and both. I've done this twice so far. It's a new thing I'm trying. Done it twice, and both occasions someone goes, "Who's skydived? Has anyone in here skydived? I can't see anyone skydive." And I went, "Well, actually, I did." A couple of months ago, July.
You just sneak that question in so you can tell everybody.
But I genuinely thought that I thought more people skydived than actually had.
But I don't think. I think there's this.
Would you do it?
I would. Yeah. I wouldn't say I wouldn't be very, very nervous doing it, but I'd
100% do it again.
I'd have skydived out of that plane on the way back from Copenhagen.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It would have been a little bit less embarrassing than having to walk. With everybody watching.
Try again?
Yeah.
I'd 100% skydive again.
Yeah. No, I'd do it. I would do it because it just looks amazing.
I was trying to convince... Hi, Sue, by the way. It's not had a shout in a while. I've been trying to convince Sue to do it the other day.
And my sister, Sue.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, again...
Could you see her doing it?
I could see her doing things like that because I think...
I said I'd do it with her if she wanted to.
She's actually away on holiday at the moment, and she sent
separately.
something, and there was a place where they were doing all these water sports, and in amongst all the things they were talking about was axe throwing. She said, that doesn't sound like a water sport to me. I suppose if you're in the middle of the lake doing it, then it's a water sport, isn't it? But I quite fancy doing things like that as well.
You can go axe throwing. In Chelmsford, they got a place.
Yep.
It's called Battle Bar.
Go to Basildon. Sorry?
Battle Bar. It's called Battle Bar.
Right, okay. So people do it while they're drinking
axe
as well.
throwing.
All right.
Yeah, you drink afterwards.
Oh, right. Oh, that seems
and they have someone
right
standing with you whilst you're doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, each other. Are they rubber axes?
Nope.
Right. Okay. Inflatable?
Nope.
No, it sounds quite dangerous then.
Metal.
Okay. So, but that sounds amazing.
It's called Boom Battle Bar.
Oh, is it? I might have to look that up after this.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that is... I mean, I don't know about you, but as I say, I've done things... Probably some of the stuff I did when I was younger, when I was on an Outward Bounds course, was because you had to do it. But it's one of those things at the time I was really... I don't really want to do this. Afterwards, I think, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to push yourself, or... I mean, you don't have to do anything, but... put yourself in a different situation just to experience something?
Well, I've got a list, haven't I? Well, that skydive I did completely on my own.
It
No
doesn't
one
show.
went with me. But I've what?
You've got a lisp, did you say?
I said a list.
Oh, right.
List.
I thought it was a revelation. I thought
Wow.
it was time for us to open up.
I had one when I was younger.
You did have one. And in fact, your sister really is upset that you haven't got it because she
Yeah.
used to think it was really cute.
Yeah, it'd be different now, though, wouldn't it?
It would be different now, as
Big
an
hairy
adult.
bloke going.
Don't
please,
do it because it'll be.
please help me.
Would your voice get really high then as well?
Yeah,
All right. Okay.
yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Yes.
But no,
Yes.
I agree. I would love to do that, and I think.
What? Make a list.
Yeah, I'd like to make a list.
But this is the thing, because I've got on my list as well. Because this is again with the abseil that's been cancelled. I've been thinking about what else can I do. Abseil in different situations. I was looking at doing a wing walk where you stand on the back of a
Wow.
biplane.
See, now
While they
you
fly
found
around.
somewhere, haven't you, that does
I
this?
could do that. Yeah.
But I thought you could only do that when you, I don't know, some absolutely enormous sort of
A charity place for an organisation,
Yeah.
like the abseiling.
I
thing,
didn't think it was something that you could readily do. And I mean that's it. That I must admit, that's one that I think I'd be all right with, because I know it sounds ridiculous being you stand up and you're tied to and strapped to a plane's wing, but it feels like it's more secure than I don't know. It feels like you're going to be strapped to it. You're going to be tied to this wing. So would there be a problem? I don't know. Perhaps that sounds ridiculous.
Well, it's got the same risk as a plane crashing,
Yeah, which is
or if they accidentally land upside down.
that would be an issue.
Yep.
Do you have to have someone of equal weight on the other side, or can you do it on your own? Question.
What?
So
You're
when
not
you
standing
go,
on the wing.
I thought you do stand on the
It's a
wing.
biplane, so it's got like one long wing that goes along the.
Yeah.
So
So where do you
you're
stand
standing in the middle.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you?
You don't stand on one side.
I thought you stood on one side.
Otherwise, you just be corkscrewing.
I thought you had to go with someone of the equal weight and size of
Yeah, I
yourself.
got that based on you already a comment.
Or several people that weigh the same as you, depending on if you weigh a lot or not.
Yeah, no.
No? Okay. I'm glad
They used to the air show, didn't they? They used to have sometimes some
Yeah,
wing
and
walks up
no,
there.
but that's
and
my
I think
point, the
sometimes they were
crunchy
charity
one.
people.
There used to be...
It used to be an
it
utterly
always used to
buttery
be
plane.
Utterly butterly, that's it as well. But I always thought it was something like that. And I thought, well, but would you get any opportunity to do it? But you've looked into it and you can't you?
Yeah, I once got told it's going to cost something like $3,000, and I was like, really? And I looked it up. It was only about 400 quid.
Which is
Which
not
is more
an
than-
insignificant amount of money.
More than the skydive.
Yeah.
Granted.
But you'd expect it to be as well, wouldn't you? Because
Well-
only one person can do it at a time.
Yeah, okay, so you're not paying for the plane ticket, but you are, for a skydive, you're paying for someone to jump out of a plane for you.
Yeah, and you also, but it's spread, the cost of the fuel for the plane is spread across, I don't know, 8, 10 people, was it?
Yeah,
Something like
okay, yeah, so that's spread across those people. But I paid for 2 people to jump out of a plane with me. One person for me to be strapped to, and another person to take photos and videos of me.
Oh, I was thinking, hey? I don't remember.
And the equipment.
And the equipment, yeah. You had a film crew.
And for someone to fold up the parachute after. Because that's a skilled job.
Yeah, I imagine it is. I did see the video of you doing it, and when you landed, because I wondered how you
And
landed.
people to catch us, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
And
catch us, but they
the bloke,
grab
you
the
put your legs
parachute,
up, don't you? And then he runs on the. He's the one who touches the ground, and then he runs along, and then immediately, 2 of them were on the chute and making sure it was all sorted out. So I guess it's a turnaround thing as well on these.
Yeah.
But brilliant, and I'd love to do things. It's a bit like a bucket list, isn't it? As such, with your list, and I've seen some of the things, and some of the things are like climb. Ben Nevis is one of
Yeah.
yours, because obviously we've done 2 and we want to do the highest peak.
Go on a helicopter.
Yep.
Ride a jet ski.
In itself, now
Go
jet ski,
skiing,
but I mean
surfing.
going a helicopter.
Swimming a shark cage.
Yeah.
Scuba dive.
Yeah.
Should we keep going?
Scuba dive. Well, you can do. What about, I've got a few here, right? Whether
Where?
you'd fancy doing this, right? Now, granted, you've never been skiing or snowboarding, but what about heli skiing?
Heli skiing.
So basically, what it is...
Are you on skis and you're being pulled. I want to guess these before.
All right,
you're
go
being
on then.
pulled along by a helicopter, much like you would jet skiing with a boat, but it's actually instead of a helicopter pulling you along across snow.
No.
Oh,
So basically, the helicopter can get you near or above a place that you wouldn't be able to normally get to on a mountain. So some remote place on there. And basically, I do believe you have to kind of jump out of the helicopter in order and land on the snow. That's what I've seen people do. But basically, it takes you to the more remote and inaccessible areas on a mountain, and you then ski or snowboard down. But obviously there's a massive risk, because when you go skiing, normally you go skiing and you go to these places, and although there's still the potential for big problems, you've got ski lifts, you've got runs that are assigned a colour in order to add how difficult it is and all that. So it's been looked at. It's been quite. It doesn't look like it when you're there. It just looks beautiful. But this, anything can happen. The chances of you not finding a proper route down, an avalanche, anything is fairly high. But that's why it is what it is. You don't just get normal people doing this.
well, but at the same time, with all those runs, someone's had to do it first.
They have indeed. Okay, well, you touched on this. The second one I've got on this.
You said, would I do it?
Oh, yeah, would you do it?
If I'd skied beforehand, then
You would
potentially.
give it a go. I don't know that I would, because I think I've
never skied, so I don't know.
I think the last time I skied,
I wouldn't do that as my
put
first.
the willies up me a bit.
I wouldn't. That's not how you meant to ski.
No, that's why I'm not doing it again.
I wouldn't do that as my first.
No,
thing
I
in
would
skiing.
suggest, there is a gradual way to get into that. Okay, you've mentioned this. Now, they do this sort of cage of death, which is very much an Australian
That's why
way of
before I
putting it.
jumped out of a plane, I jumped from a few steps up in the stairs.
Well, we keep saying about you abseiling out your bedroom window.
Yes,
a
and to
number
the
of times.
equivalent.
Yeah. Cage of death or shark cage. Well, we've talked about that. In Australia, they've got a huge glass container that you come face to face with, like the largest crocodiles you can find, sort of thing. But you're still within that. But I guess because you're exposed as such, and there's the risk that something goes wrong and you wouldn't stand a chance. But the shark cage you've talked about, now I would do that.
I'll do the shark cage.
Yeah. Although, obviously, there is a risk, and I've seen plenty of things where the sharks have got into the cage.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's something I would like to do. All right, so that's fair. Okay.
With trusted people that do it often.
Yeah, not just...
You bought a cage, or you did?
Joe Blogs. And
Unless
that.
it's basking sharks.
Yeah, okay, because they won't bother you.
No.
Big wave surfing. Now...
Again, I'd try surfing first.
Yeah. Now, it's one of the most deadly adrenaline sports, because basically people travel the world to hit these huge waves, and the risk is astronomical. As good as you are, we're talking about stuff. We're talking about, you've never seen Point Break, have you?
No, but I've seen Surf's Up with the penguins.
No, it's exactly like that,
Yep.
right? So you have to be really careful. But a lot of people, but for the surfing
And
community,
Bondi
it's
Rescue.
almost like a holy grail as such. There are these gigantic waves that they go and hit. Now, I've
it's a
never
bit like
surfed.
if I like fish, and if I was a scuba diving, which I'd like to do as well, then there's certain reefs you would want to go look
Yeah.
at.
Well, no, true, and some of them will be very dangerous to go to. But I guess if you're into something, it's taking that thing. It's like we said, it's surfing. It's like skiing, heli skiing, diving, shark cage, specifically shark cage. So they'll be baiting to get the sharks to come there. Big wave surfing. Well, you can go surfing, and probably minimal risk. I've never actually been proper surfing, but minimal risk. But that is taking it to the extreme, which is exactly what we're talking about. Now, another one, creeking it's called. So basically, it's like kayaking. They're more reinforced kayaks, but you're basically coming down waterfalls and white water and quite pretty much vertical drops and that in these things. And I've seen some footage of it, and people get smashed up. I mean, because one thing is the water and being thrown about, but then there's the rocks, and it is really dangerous.
They did that in The Hobbit, didn't they?
Yeah,
in those barrels.
Yeah. And I mean, most of them come out all right. One of them got shot with an arrow, poison arrow.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens from the videos I've seen anyway. No one's shooting arrows at them. But
maybe they should. Maybe it'd be more extreme.
I love kayaking. I love going out in canoes or kayaks and that. And even if it's like in the estuary and it's a bit bumpy because there's a tide there, that's fine. Then you go and look at this and you think, wow, this is like 10 levels above that. And again, quite dangerous. We talked about climbing mountains. I've said about people using the equipment and doing the face, like the mountain faces. Free climbing. Rock and ice. Basically, they don't use any ropes or harnesses. The ice, they have to have certain things, ice picks, because they're never going to get
toothpicks.
Toothpicks, just to clear out the seagulls from their teeth. So that looks incredible. It's like Tom Cruise does a lot of that, and it always looks incredible and fantastic, and something I'd love to do, but my wrists are too weak to take my weight to do things like that.
Yeah, that's why I always beat you in arm wrestles.
Exactly. I'm going to rattle through these last ones, right? Volcano boarding. Right, this is snowboarding, but down the side of volcanoes.
Like ash, down the ash. Yeah,
right?
That sounds cool. I'd do that.
But, again,
I need to learn
some people...
first.
all right, so there's snowboarding, then there's volcano ash boarding, let's call it like that, and then there's going to volcanoes that are actually still active, and... So you've got fumes coming out of them.
I want to see the active volcano.
Yeah, I'd love to do that as well, but I think I'll separate those two activities. I'd go and see an active volcano. I wouldn't bother taking a board.
Then water ski down the lava.
But, people, there's the fumes from it. But again, it's the adrenaline. It's going through people. And it's quite a dangerous thing to do, by we've talked about wing walking. Highlining I've got on here. Now, highlining is basically tightrope walking.
For Scottish people.
Yeah. And this seems to be even more popular. I think there's been a few films about it and all the rest of it, but people will do it across canyons. They'll do it between buildings.
Wasn't there a film about a bloke that did it between the Twin Towers or something?
I believe there was. I think that's made it even more popular because people have seen this sort of thing, and there's a huge amount of skill involved in it. But that seems to be a popular thing.
Yeah, but I've seen Harry Potter, and I've not wanted to cut my nose off and attack people, or take over a school.
Right. So what you're basically saying is just because you see someone doing it, you don't have to do it.
Yep.
Okay. Couple more. Base jumping. Now, you talked about jumping out of a plane. That's one thing. What about jumping off a building or a cliff? I mean, again, it's just taking it up a notch, isn't it?
It's not quite tombstone because that's into water. Base jumping is where you jump off with a parachute, isn't it?
Yeah, but even so, that has many risks in itself. When you're coming out of a plane, there's a risk there, but you're coming out of a plane into a wide space where you're not likely to hit anything else.
With the jumping off of cliffs and buildings, they'd have to be tall enough as well because
in order for you to get
decelerating time.
Yeah. But you get them people. What are those things that people look like flying squirrels?
Oh, wingsuits.
Wingsuits. So that's another thing again, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So do they have parachutes as well?
I think typically, they will have a
parachute. So they come off
back.
in one of those things, and if movies are to be believed, you sort of whizzing along but floating, yeah. And then at the point where, because obviously you can't just glide into the ground, you'd set off your parachute, and then you'd be more traditionally come down.
Did you glide into the ground? They're not falling as fast as, so they're like more like that. So it's just sliding along the ground.
For the podcast, Connor just used his hand to depict someone coming down slowly. Okay.
It's not like a vertical.
No, it isn't. But I'd imagine you're still going to be sort of at a speed. It could be quite dangerous.
They're parachuting. you come down at quite a speed as well.
Oh, yeah, no, I know that. But as I say, I don't know a great deal about this. And the last one I've got on here, and I know there's many, many sports and that, is parkour.
Yep.
Amazing to look at. But people take it, and they keep taking. Lots of people have died doing it. People take it to
someone who
more
went
extremes.
to my secondary school that did it and ended up being paralysed from the neck down.
Is that true? Really?
Yeah,
Honestly?
they then went to the school again. They were about Becky's age, and they missed out on school for years, and then they came back when we got the new building.
I remember driving past someone or sitting at lights near to us where there's a park, and a young lad was walking along, and he's looking at the tree, and there was this sort of big oak tree, I think it was. So for quite a way up, it was just the big trunk of this tree. I saw him looking at it, and he walked towards it a couple of times, and he stepped back while I was still at the lights. I think, what's he doing? He ran up it. So he ran towards it, ran up it, and flipped over. And it looked incredible. And I've seen people doing bits and pieces like around sort of the more, I suppose, concrete jungles around.
They used to have a parkour club at school until I think it got cancelled because of...
Well, but it struck me at that point that if that lad had timed that wrong, you could land on your head and, break your neck.
That's the same with any flip.
It is. And I know that. But, I mean, it looks massively impressive. I mean, you've had it in James Bond films and things like that. It looks massively impressive when people can really do it. But again, people will take it to such limits that it becomes very, very dangerous.
So, do you have an adrenaline-based song?
I have an adrenaline-based song. It's about meeting someone and falling in love with someone who's into extreme sports.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It's a love song.
It is a love song about someone who's into that sort of thing, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll play that song then.
Can you, please?
What's it called?
It's called Adrenaline Gym.
Ah. Okay. Jim, spelled J-I-M?
Yes, Jim. You got that right, yeah?
Okay.
With an adrenaline junkie. His hair is long and his clothes a little funky. He spends half his life at the end of a bungee. That's why his nickname's Wee. When he takes a flight, you'll find him seated on the wing. A spot of cliff diving is nothing to him. He'll chuck himself from windows just on a whim. It's normal for him, you see. He's flying. Flies like a bird soaring through the clouds. He's diving. He's a risk taker, thrill seeker, and oh so proud. He's fearless. Nothing's out of reach, he's dressed for the beach. And fearless. He'd zip right to the toilet if allowed. If he's low on food, he hang-gloss to the shops. Doesn't wear high-tech shoes, prefers a running Crocs. Wears a baseball cap upon his golden locks. And he smokes an odd bit of weed. He loves to swim with sharks, but never in a cage. He acts more like someone half his age. If there's safety instructions, he'll rip out the page. He's as reckless could be. He's flying. Flies like a bird soaring through the clouds. He's diving. He's a risk taker, thrill seeker, and oh so proud. He's fearless. Nothing's out of reach, he's dressed for the beach. And fearless. He'd zip right to the toilet if allowed. He's flying. Flies like a bird soaring through the clouds. He's diving. He's a risk taker, thrill seeker, and also proud. He's fearless. Nothing's out of reach. He's dressed for the beach. And fearless. He'd zip right to the toilet if allowed.
Game time.
Lovely song. Now let's play a game.
A game? You want to
Yep.
play a game, do you?
Yep.
Well, I've got a game for you. We're talking about these extreme sports.
Is it a
and
quiz?
It is a quiz. It is
Yep.
a quiz. It's 10 questions and multiple choice. One of the things that comes with these extreme sports sometimes is a language, is a way of describing things or just specific to those particular sports. All right. So I've got a quiz, and if you play my sting now, it'll probably tell you what you need to know.
You're doing that thing again where you get gradually quieter.
Am I?
Yeah.
I didn't realise I was doing that.
Why are you getting even quieter now?
Play my sting.
Okay.
Are you cool? Do you know the slang? Life on the edge, don't give a damn. No time for stress or being sad. Are you red or you more like your dad?
Was a lovely sting.
Did you like that?
Yep.
So this is Rad or Just Like Your Dad.
And let's just have a quick explanation then. So you said the sting will explain stuff. Just in case someone didn't have time to listen to the sting.
It didn't give you any answers to the questions, if that's what you're saying.
No, I wasn't saying that.
Basically, there's a different language sometimes used in these
So
sports.
it's rad or you've made it up.
No, it's rad or you're more like me and don't really know. Well, I am quite rad, so it's not quite true.
No.
Are you an old fogey or are you down with the kids and know all your jargon?
Right.
That's basically it.
Okay.
Right? Okay, question 1, Connor.
Yep.
Which of these is a term for fresh, fluffy and non-groomed snow that you might find off-piste? So if you're doing snowboarding or a bit of skiing or perhaps even a bit of heli skiing, is it A, pow? Is it B, cotton? Or is it C, egg white?
Pow.
It is pow, as in powder. So well done, 1 out of 1.
Thank you.
You're quite cool. Question 2.
Would you have said egg white?
No, I'd have said pow because I wrote this.
Because egg whites, yeah, aren't even white until you cook them.
No, they're not.
Question.
I sometimes lose track of what
Or
you're...
whisk them.
Whisk them. Or interfere with them in any sort of way.
So why would you call it egg white?
But that's not the answer, is it?
Yeah, no. I'm just saying.
Question.
That's how I got to
This is not an egg base. We've had egg base quiz for Easter. This is not an egg base.
Yeah, the
quiz.
bald man quiz.
That was really good. I
It was a
enjoyed
good
it.
one.
Question 2. If I'm out on my snowboard or skateboard,
It wasn't just bald men, was it? Wasn't
no,
Britney
it
Spears
wasn't.
on there as well?
No, Britney Spears wasn't on there.
Oh.
Where did you get that from?
Don't know, she was bald once.
She was bald once. You're absolutely right. I think she's still bald. She wears wigs, doesn't she? Anyway, question 2.
I thought she shaved it off in a moment of just.
She was having some mental illness problems, mental health
Yeah.
problems, and she shaved her head. Yeah, but I heard recently that she's bald anyway, and she wears.
Where? How
wigs.
recently?
Last 3 weeks
Last 3 weeks, and where did you hear it?
in the press.
In the press.
Yes,
They just said, "Oh, Britney
journalists.
Spears still
No,
bald."
she's most recent relationship was broken down, and then there was.
Because she's bald.
I don't know. That it's because she was bald.
So
I don't
where
think
did
it's
it
anything
come
to
up
do with it.
about her being bald?
But she did. I read it somewhere.
Where?
The Bald and Balding, the magazine that I.
On the back of a bald man's head.
No, I get it. On a monthly basis, I've got a subscription to Bald and Balding.
Right.
Are you ready for
Question
question 2? I was trying to rattle through these. Question 2. I'm out on my snowboard or skateboard, and I do a trick, and it's a bit zeech or zeechy. What do I mean? Is it that it was easy? A. B. Was it was hard? Or C. was it because I messed it up? So I do a trick and it's a bit zeech or zeechy. Is it because I messed it up? Is it because it was hard? Or is it because it was easy?
You said it different all that time. I'm going to go for messed it up.
It is messed it up. It's C. I nearly got to tell you completely wrong. So that's 2 out of 2. You are cool. Question 3. If you land a trick well or with ease, a snowboarder might say they'd what it? They'd A, buzzed it, they'd B, stomped it, or they'd C, trumped it. You've landed a trick well on a snowboard, but what might you say you've done? You've buzzed it, you've stomped it, or you've trumped it.
Stomped it.
3 out of 3. You're really cool, and I can tell
between buzz and stomp
your
there.
nerves are starting to go now. The adrenaline's pumping. Question 4. If I'm attempting a kicker...
I'm still not understanding how you found out if Britney Spears is bald. We're going to have to find out after this.
Don't let that distract you from this quiz. Question 4. I'm attempting a kicker. What would I be doing? Is it A, a jump? Is it B, balancing on one foot? Or is it C, a non-regulation trick? So is it A, so I'm attempting a kicker. Is it A, a jump? Is it B, balancing on one foot? Or is it C, a non-regulation trick? And I think this is skateboarding I got this from. But it might be snowboarding as well.
Non-regulation trick.
You're a nerd. It's actually a jump.
I was going to say jump, but it's only because you messed up on trick.
Oh, it's my fault, is it? Question 5. Still doing all right. Question 5. What is the term for when a
Why are these all skateboarding?
They're not. Question 5.
All 5 of them so far. Have been
Snowboarding.
Snowboarding or skateboarding.
Yeah. Question 5. What is the term for when a skateboarder uses his or her feet to pull the board up into the air? Is it called A, an ollie? Is it called B, a grolly? Or is it called C, a molly?
A very easy one. This one's an ollie.
It is an ollie. Did you used to do that when you skateboarded then?
I didn't skateboard.
Did you not?
No.
You had a skateboard?
Yeah, it didn't mean I skateboarded.
All right, okay.
Me and Becky used to push each other down the road in it.
Me and my brother used to go skateboarding, and we used to go down on one of those bridges with the curly sort of things that sort of go on the either side of the road and get all mangled up in the
Railings.
fence at the bottom here.
Yeah.
Question 6. If I'm paragliding and I get flushed, what does it mean? Is it A, I soil myself? Is it B, I overheat? Or is it C, I lose height and am forced to land?
C, lose height, forced to land.
That is correct.
Of course, it's not soiling yourself. Or
Well, you might do.
a bit too hot, I'm a bit flushed.
Bit flushed. Question 7. Now, this is I don't know why I put this in. This is completely different to the rest of them. Question 7. The longest zip line in the world is the Jebel J flight, located in the mountainous desert of the UAE, United Arab Emirates. That is. How far does it go? Is it A, 1.76 miles long? Is it B, 1.7 miles long? Or is it C, 0.76 miles long? So this is
1.76 miles long.
That is correct. And it goes at a top speed of 93 miles per hour.
Doesn't the one in Wales go faster than that, though?
No, I looked that up because I thought that was the one that was the... And I don't even think that's the longest one in Great Britain.
No,
or
it's
the
not the
UK.
longest one, but I think it's the fastest one.
Oh, right. Oh, perhaps I was... Because I was looking at the longest. So perhaps I'll have another look at that. Anyway, well done. Question
Zip
8.
World.
Yeah, we're going to go there, aren't we, again, do that. Question 8. I'm out surfing and someone calls me a kook. Well, what does that mean? Is it A,
How you spelling kook?
K-O-O-K? But what does that mean? Does it mean I'm incredibly good for a beginner? Does it mean B, I'm incredibly bad even for a beginner? Or is it C, I look incredible in my swimsuit? I'm out surfing. Someone calls me a kook. Does it mean I'm very good for a beginner?
Good for a beginner.
It is B. Bad, even for a beginner. Nerd. That's just my call.
Would you have done that
a
beforehand?
Nerd. No, I wouldn't. No.
Oh, so you're a nerd.
Kook usually doesn't mean particularly good, does it?
Yeah, no, but Australians are on the opposite side of the world, so.
I didn't say we were in Australia.
It was surfing though.
Just surfing. People do surf other places.
Yeah, but there's a lot of surfers in
Question 9.
in Australia, and there's a lot of surfers in Hawaii.
That's true. Question 9. Brad, a tanned, long blonde-haired dude, asked me if I want to partake in a party wave. But what is it? Is it a special wave that surfers do to each other on their birthdays? Is it B, a special brew that surfers drink? Or is it C, a wave that is surfed by several people at the same time?
A wave that's surfed by several people at the same time.
That is correct. Well done. That was the penultimate question.
Oh,
and
right.
This is the last question.
Right.
Question 10. I'm out doing a bit of parkour, right? And decide to perform a pike. But what would I have to do in order to perform that pike? Would I have to, A, have my knees straight, hips bent, and then flip? Would I, B, have to have my knees straight, lips parted, and flip? Or would I have to have C, my arms folded, eyes wide, and flip?
A.
Yes, is correct. Knees straight, hips bent, and flip. And I would say, because I think you got 8 out of 10 in that quiz, which is a good showing, that you are cool. And that is the end of my little extreme sports quiz. Did you enjoy it?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Right, there you go.
That brings us to the end, doesn't it?
It does bring us to the end, but I think it's given us food for thought. I've certainly started thinking about. I've started to think about what other stuff I'd like to do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll feature it on these pods that we do.
Sorry?
I keep hearing people saying on the pod, and I never used that term before, and I thought I'd use it tonight, and I've only just remembered it, and now I'm not going to ever use it again.
I don't think you should. Do you know why they're called podcasts?
Yeah. So I think that's it there, isn't it?
Do you know? You're just going to go
I
with
don't
that?
remember. I did know.
All right, they're called podcasts, yeah, because they were like, it was meant to be when the iPod was a big thing.
Oh, that's right.
It's
It's when the iPod was a big thing.
Like iPod, whatever, and people started referring to as podcasts.
Yep, that's right.
And then onwards from there. So then people call them podcasts, and that's what they became. But now people reverting back to pod, but that's just an iPod. So it means something different.
I just heard someone say it today, and I just thought I'd try and use it.
Yeah.
But
Please
I
don't.
said it, I won't do it again. Okay, so how can
Yes,
people
it's
get
meant to
in
be-
touch with us if they want to get in touch with us?
They can
sorry.
do- I was going to say, it's meant to be 117, but it's actually 116, but we'll get back on track. If we do miss weeks at a time, hopefully we won't. But you know what?
It was
I think
unforeseen. There's
It's
nothing we could do
unforeseen.
about
I think we're just going to sit and be a bit more relaxed with it. If we accidentally miss a week, then we accidentally miss a week. But
unfortunately, yeah.
we'll try not to. If you did want to send a message, you can do so on the website, fatherandsundays.com, and then go to the Contact Us page, or you can email us at contact us. I said contact us. I said contact us.
Did you?
Yep.
Beep. and this will be the last podcast we ever do.
Contact us at fatherandsundays.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, or we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Threads. Like, follow, share, and you can also message us on there as well. We're a bit behind with the social medias,
but not many, Benny.
but doesn't mean that we won't look at your message if you send one on there. Yeah, there was a lady that, not on our Instagram, but my Instagram, that tried to message me the other day, and her Instagram name was something like Chocolicious Booty.
Was it?
Yep.
Was it another sexy message?
Yep.
Oh dear.
Anyway, it's not like that time that person.
Try to get us both involved in something.
Yep,
Yeah,
they messaged
yeah.
about going. I think you're both really. Yep. Anyway, let's move on from that. But yeah, all the podcast episodes are available on the website, or you can
indeed.
get any chosen podcast platform.
So if you fancy having a look, there's plenty of subjects for you to choose
115 others.
Yeah, so there's bound to be something there that will interest
Although
you.
we did double up on a couple, so it's 115 others, but we did a second space episode.
Yeah, but they're totally different.
They are totally different. We don't just repeat the same stuff again. It's not like Space Remaster. And we did 2 camping episodes.
Yep, but they were totally
It
different.
was a sequel.
Yeah.
The second one was a sequel.
They were.
Yeah.
They are, indeed. Okay.
What's next week, Dad? Actually, we haven't decided fully yet.
I don't know, because I did know and now I don't know.
Yeah, we
because
had a plan, and then we had our plan for last week's episode.
It depends whether
that
we
held back
do
on
last week's episode
next
week
or we do
just
next week's
episode.
We'll discuss that amongst ourselves.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.